But obviously, I'm playing Persona 5 Tactica. I wasn't going to. I was literally like until like 10 minutes ago going to stream Baldur's Gate 3, which I've still have not touched a single second of. But I realize there's just like so much shit to talk about that I'm simply just not gonna like comprehend anything that's happening. So I decided on Persona 5 Tactical just because I haven't had time to play this anyway, and I do want to finish this at some point. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess Spicy V. The thing is, like, I think Spicy V just sucks. Really, like, I think like the way that Spicy V and like Avery are acting on the jury is just terrible. I mean, again, like obviously everyone has their prerogative of like how they want to vote and all that stuff. I still think their behavior through it is like just really like like just very like toxic. Like the fact that like Avery literally says to like Todd's face when he comes in that like, oh, you're just a Bailey's puppet, and that she played you like a fiddle. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Alright, I'm gonna let this play. But Spicy V is more like Bitter V, yeah. Doesn't season out BB Can? I mean, I'm kind of conflicted on it because I do feel like for the first like 2/3 of it, I didn't give a shit. I didn't really care about what was happening. While there was cool things happening, I didn't really care. I feel like I definitely did care a lot more from like the final 5 on. I think once like the spicy thing was starting to happen, I think I definitely started to care a bit more. But also it's like I'm not like that upset at Anthony losing. Yeah, I want Anthony to win. I do think if Anthony won, it would have been a pretty impressive win. I think probably third best BB Can win. I think it would have been like a spot where like, is he the best BB Can player of all time? Is he top 3 BBUS players of all time? I think that would have been like a serious conversation, even like number 2, I would say. I still think I would have Dan 1 above Anthony no matter what, even if Anthony won this, but I think at that point Anthony's like in debate for number 2. But yeah, I mean like obviously, yeah, I don't think he wins if he gets to the end, which is an issue. Though I also like don't know what he could have necessarily done. Like, because like when we're thinking about it, it's like, what could he have done to win the jury vote? It's like, how could he have not had the jury bitter at him, considering the game he kind of had to play in this position? Like obviously people like Lexus, that's his own thing. But like with Spicy V in particular, like, but how does he handle Spicy V better? Like, because, like, obviously, I guess, like, not yell at her at the very, very end, but, like, she was going to be bitter anyway. And, like, I think she was always going to, like, try to turn the jury against him. To where it's, like, I don't know how he handles V better. Like, obviously, I guess just the better thing is, like, just have him beat Spicy V at the end. Like, just try to, like, warp the jury's minds to the point where, like, he just beats her at the end. But, again, like, in the spot where, like, he loses to her at the end, he always had to cut her. And also, like, considering, again, she was decent comps, it's like, you can't, like, risk going to 3 with her. Like, you're always gonna have to take her out in a spot where she'll have time with the jury. So it's like, I don't know, I feel like he was just in a tough spot in general with Spicy V in particular. Avery, I think, is just an idiot, straight up. I think Avery just follows whatever Spicy V says, and, like, yeah, whatever. Kayla is, like, kind of an interesting case where, like, I think she was very, like, bitter at the fact that, like, hot chocolate turned on her, but even then, like, she was very pro, like, Avery and Victoria, to where, like, it's kind of a strange thing there. And the thing is, like, at the end of the day, is again, like, if we ever get to hear of, like, what would happen with him against Lexus, I think that might change some things. But even then, like, I mean, like, I think Anthony probably loses against Todd, right? At this point. I don't know. Again, like, I think Anthony's, like, jury prospects are just, like, gonna be a weird thing to assess. Not as much as Dan's in BB14. But for sure, like, again, like, I think, like, Anthony for me is, like, easily better than Paul. Like, I think a lot of what Paul had, like, he had it coming. I think, like, a lot of it was his own fault of why the jury was bitter against him. Like, I feel like Anthony, it's like, there definitely is fault to be had, but, like, I don't think there's as much fault to be had. Yeah, I just assume he would have lost against anybody. I would vote for Anthony. Not even close, really. Yeah, I think Bailey is a very decent winner. Like, I think Bailey is what, like, again, debatable with Paris on the winner ranking. Like, I think she's a very solid winner. But I would not vote for her over Anthony. To be honest, even against Lexus, I think I would debate it. But then again, also I'm higher on Lexus than people seem to be. I don't know, I was thinking, like, yeah, again, I would not have been upset at, like, any of these people winning. Mind you, I do think I would have been, like, a bit more, like upset at the jury had Lexus beat Anthony. Where, like, I think, like, when it's Bailey versus Anthony, I'm not as upset because, like, again, Bailey was just so clearly the biggest story threat the entire time. From, like, our view to where, like, again, like, it's not as egregious to me that happens. Even though, again, I think Anthony, like, I would have voted for Anthony. But when it's Anthony versus Lexus, it's like, I think Lexus played a competent game, but, like, I feel like everything Lexus did, Anthony did better. Because, like, a lot of what Lexus did well in the game is essentially, like, enacting what Anthony did. So, like, I think that would have been a bit more egregious. Yeah, so obviously, yeah, we haven't talked about Survivor yet. I felt like it was just kind of a fine episode. I mean, Venus going home, like, a little bit surprising. Not very surprising, though. I mean, like, at the moment where Venus, like, says that, oh, I would, like, really regret it if I went home with an idol, it's like, okay, she's going home with the idol. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, can you not make it that fucking apparent? Like, that was just so in your face. I was like, well, fuck. The rest of the episode doesn't fucking matter. But, I mean, like, outside that, it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't really, like, I don't get the strategy from a lot of the people involved. I would say also, like, when we're talking about, like, winner contenders and stuff, I think it was mostly a bad-ish episode for Kenzie, right? Like, definitely, like, again, we've had 2 episodes in a row that I think were, like, questionable episodes for Kenzie. To where, again, definitely not. I still think she's probably winning. I still have her at number 1. I would say at this point, I actually have Ben at number 2. And, like, to be fair, it's not really from this specific episode. It's more so from having... yeah, I'm working on my review. I'm up to Mergatory. I just finished the Mergatory episode. And, like, I don't think Ben's edit is, like, not that bad. I do think Mergatory in particular, like, the fact that he gets, like, no content Mergatory, like, that's a bit wonky. Everything else, though, is, like, it's not terrible if he's going to be this, like, more, like, under the radar style winner. Whereas I think if, like, anyone is, like, a Gabler style figure, I feel like it's probably Ben. Do I think Ben's winning? No. But again, I do think that is the case. Charlie, I think we're getting the setup of Charlie's fall. Yeah, also 16 confessions of Charlie is ridiculous, yeah. But yeah, I felt like this was, like, the start of the fall of Charlie, is the sense that I got. I still have Charlie 3. But again, this did not feel like I feel like again, especially with him getting 16 confessionals, I feel like this should have been this, like, coronation for Charlie, like the setup to his, like, winning storyline. Yet instead, like, we have, like, most of what he says talking about, like, oh, Maria, or fucking not Maria, about Q. I want Q out of the game, and then, like, he just doesn't. He just fucking relents and takes out Venus. It's like, well, fuck. What was the point? I don't think did I ever say Maria was a final juror? I think Maria's out soon. I think if I were to guess, I would say Q, then Maria. And then I guess that would mean Ben firemaking, right? Yeah, and then probably Kenzie wins against Charlie and Liz. Oh yeah, that's probably what I'm thinking at this point. Oh, finalists now. I talked about this last stream. I was kind of out on that at that point, where it was kind of a mixture of factors. First up, for Maria in particular, the reason I was out on Maria as a finalist at that point is because, again, she just made the move against Tiffany in a spot where we literally got the previous episode, her talking about how, like, oh, Kenzie wants to take out Tiffany. That's a big move. That'll make her a threat. And then, like, she proceeds to make the move. It's like, okay, well, then you're going to be the big threat that gets taken out before the end. And, like, I think we're at the point now where, like, if Maria gets to the end, she just wins, right? So it's like, it doesn't really make sense for her to get to the end and then lose. The other thing is that, relating to Charlie, I think Charlie is the losing finalist at this point. I think after having just recently rewatched 45, and like looking at Austin's edit, like Charlie's edit feels very reminiscent to Austin's. I do feel like the style of content they get, like obviously there's a bit difference because like Charlie does have the Taylor Swift part of his character, but too far I guess it's like kind of reminiscent to like Austin's like sandwich stuff and the quirkiness of that. But like a lot of their like very like game body sort of content, with them also being very prominent fixtures on the season, like almost at the top of the confessional count most of the season, despite them like, and also being like very important to how the season is playing out, despite them not really having like a proper arc or like storyline happening. Like I feel like Charlie is the Austin of the season. And yeah, I think more than likely at this point he's losing finals, especially like now that we're narrowing down who's left in the game. Like once Venus goes here, I think this really narrows it down, because like the big debate was like, okay, is it Liz and Venus in final 3? Now Venus gone, it's like, oh okay, no, it's Liz and then probably Charlie at this point. Has jury not vote for Charlie? I mean, I think it's been pretty clear that people don't look at him as like, because like Kenzie specifically in this episode says that Charlie has nothing on his resume. Like that was literally the thing said in this episode. I actually also, just again going back to the I haven't like worked on episode 7 yet, but like seeing the very beginning of it, like Q specifically says there that it was something that like Charlie did. Let's see, where is it? Episode 7. Where is it? Oh, Charlie let his emotions get the best of him. To where like it feels like that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from like how Charlie's perceived out there. So like I don't think people are looking at Charlie as this like mastermind player that we're seeing. I think they're looking at him as like, yeah, Maria's sidekick, and like what is he actually doing in the game? Was Austin ever more prominent in D though? Yes, by a lot. Like most of the season. Where I think that's the thing that's like, I think it might be misconstrued. Like D was not that prominent in the edit. Like Austin had a bigger edit than D the entire season. I don't think there's ever a point in the season where like Austin has less confessionals than D. Let's see. They're tied up. Okay, episode 4, she had one more confessional. After that, yeah, he's higher than her the rest of the time. Yeah, literally, what, the Kendra boot? Actually, that's actually weird, isn't it? That the Kendra boot, he has more confessionals. But I don't know, that's when he won the Journey thing, right? So that does make sense. But he has, like, again, the Kendra boot is, like, a move that's specifically, told that to us as, like, oh, that's Dee's move. Yet she has 5 confessionals, he has 11 during that episode. Yeah, really, the only episodes that she has more than him is episode 4, where she went to tribal and he didn't. Episode 7, which was the seafood boot, which that one's genuine. And episode 12, which was the Drew boot. Like even finale, Austin has more confessionals than D. And Austin does end the season with the most confessionals for some reason. Lower than 10th. I think I actually have her right at 10th. But I haven't like locked it in, but I think I have her right at 10th, yeah. My debate is like her or Tim. I think that's my debate. I was waiting a bit on like her versus Randon. I decided just because like she has made it like so much further in the game, and again she was technically on the right side of the numbers for most of the post merge. It's like, okay, that's enough to be above Randon. Her versus Tim I think is a little bit more interesting, because like Tim does get kind of like unlucky in the fact that like the split tribal of it all, but like I do feel like Tim didn't play it particularly well anyway. Me listening to the, what is this? Angry scream sound effect. Salt and Spicy's speech when casting Revenge is the best. I mean, what is there to say? Trash bag is stupid. Like, it's just like, I mean, how's that really make sense? That like her talking about how like oh, I need the trash bag because like it'll show Anthony some loyalty because I at least hold what it like fills or whatever she fucking said. It's like, okay, whatever. Like, what's that even mean? I like Venus. I don't think she's a good player, and I don't think Venus, and I think Venus is like not very socially aware. But I do like her though. Can Kenzie blindside Ben? No. I think Kenzie's gonna be involved and take out Maria. And like, actually, this is the thing I've been thinking about too. I don't think Kenzie will have a big move. Because obviously we've been like predisposed at this point to where like, oh, the winner needs to have a big move. And like we had like Marianne obviously have like the Omer move. I mean, like Gabler didn't really have one, but again, they at least like propped up the fire making challenge as one and everything. But like we've been like conditioned to like think that way, but like I think that plays into like what Jeff was previously talking about, where like on Fire Podcast like a few weeks ago, he was talking about how like, oh, like nowadays the jury votes differently. They don't vote based on criteria. They vote individually, whatever, which is all bullshit. But I think that directly relates to this season. I think that's what he's talking about, because I think it directly relates to this season, where I don't think this is going to be a jury that votes based on who made the biggest move, or who played the game more strategically. I think they're going to be voting off relationships, and I think Kenzie is the person that has the most relationships. Where, like, I mean, just looking at the jury right now, I think she more than likely gets Tiffany, obviously. Well, I think she gets Tiffany. I think she more than likely gets Hunter. When it's like her, Charlie, Liz, I don't know where like Tevin or Soda go. I think Venus goes Kenzie. Oh yeah, and yeah, 100% she'll get Ben. That's also a thing. Which is weird because like going back earlier in the season, there's so much focus on the Ben Charlie relationship, to where like I also like realize this now, that like what if that's the relationship that like makes it towards the like that actually like runs the last few votes. Like what if like at this point like Ben, that Charlie's like actual number one ally is Ben, and that he betrays Maria to go to the end with Ben. And obviously again, like I don't think they'll actually make final three together, but I do feel like that's going to be like an impactful thing probably next episode. Do I think Ricky and Cesar are overrated racers? I mean, probably, based on their, like, record, obviously. I still think they're good. But yeah, their record is probably a bit too generous. Yeah, I don't think Q respects Charlie. Obviously isn't going to vote Liz. Maria could vote Charlie. Who knows after, like, he betrays her. Shot Q wins? No. I think no shot at all. Like, yeah, I don't think Q's gonna make it there, and even if he does make it there, I think it's very clear he's not winning. Like, just looking at the vitriol this entire cast has at him, there's no fucking way Q is winning a jury vote. Especially now that Venus is gone as well. It's like, what is the final three combination that Q wins? Alright, what am I trying to do here? Do I need to do Velvet Room? Let's see. I think Ben wins that. Like, I think Ben easily wins that. Yeah, we get a lot of talk about how, like, Ben's social game is so incredible, even though, like, I don't really get how, but, like, because, like, we haven't been properly shown any of that, but, they keep on talking about it, at least. I barely watched the Amazing Race episode. Like, it was literally in the background while I was watching BB Can.
Which persona will you choose?
Level 56. Maybe that? I think Q will sell himself better than Ben at Final Tribal. But again, it won't happen. And also, will he? Like, I feel like Q just comes off as like a con man, right? Like, will anyone believe anything Q says? At least, I don't think I would believe anything Q says. Which, to be fair, again, like, I mean, people have won in that way in the past. Like, I mean, like, Chris, obviously, in Vanuatu is a major example of that. But, like, still, it's like, I don't think he would win. I think people hate him way too much. Like, every Canadian, how many Canadians are there? I don't think Anthony's going to be done. I think really be can. I don't know. Depends on, like, how he comes out of this. We'll see how bitter he is. I definitely feel like his connection
Is this persona? One moment,
with
please.
Spicy at least is probably a bit tarnished. I think he'll still be like friends with a lot of the BB Can people, no matter what.
What would you like to do?
Or like, I can't see him like not being friends with Dane anymore,
What would you
or
like to do?
even like Adam,
Which persona will you
like people like
choose?
that. But like
Are you
in terms of like how
finished?
involved is he in the community, as in like going on podcasts and that sort of thing, I think that
Make
yeah
your
is up in
decision.
the air.
Which persona will you choose?
Let's Maria reward choice is terrible, like really bad, in like most aspects. I'd say for Ben is like whatever. Ben's fine. Again, like picking Q, I think is just bad perception. Let's see. No, that's the one I just did. Okay, that's nothing. That's leveling down. Yeah, obviously Tom Laidlaw, number one. Again, I have Bailey probably, what, like 4 or 5? What was it? Again, like, so, what is my ranking right now? I'm trying, I have to remember, like, the actual people that are there. Oh, fuck, I have to record that. I can record that video now. Forgot about that. So I am making the winner ranking. So, like, 1's Dane, 2 is Kevin. Kevin Jacobs. Like, those are the only good ones, right? Like, are we already at, like, Paris and John after that? And, like, Ty? BB Can 9? Because if we are, then, like, Bailey's in that tier. I haven't, like, locked in, like, where exactly she would land of those people. I think my gut says below Paris and John, above Ty, maybe? I don't know. It's a tough game to assess. Because I think the thing about Bailey is that, like, Bailey was very effective at, like, getting her game plan done. But it wasn't necessarily, like, fully, like, based around reality. To where, like, I don't think she had an understanding of how the game was even played until this last week, where she finds out about, like, hot chocolate. Where, like, before that, I don't think she understands what happened this season. I would still have Anthony above Dr. Will, but that's because I don't look at Dr. Will highly. Do I want this? Is this even good? Well, none of these are good skills anyway. I mean, I guess I'll do it.
Is this please? Wait just a moment.
I mean, like, Anthony's BB Can 7 game is already number 1. If we're, like, adding in 12, it's... Like, I don't remember the fucking runners-up well enough. It's very good, though. Or, like, I do think this is a very impressive game that he played.
What would you like?
Like, it's, like, very reminiscent to, like, Dan's BB14 game. Of, like...
Are you finished?
Or maybe that's not even, like, that app of a comparison, actually. But it's, like, one where, like, he's in the Majority Alliance for, like, pretty much the entire season. But he's not really in a good spot within the Majority Alliance. Where, like, he has to make these big moves towards the end to navigate to the end. And is able to pull off those moves.
I am certain you'll be able to.
But obviously, like, gets to the end without any, like, respect from the jury. Yeah, he might just be second on the runner-up, like, first and second, I think.
What would you like to do?
Lexus is not a great founder, but she's also, like, not terrible either. Like I don't have the fucking, like, I don't have my fucking rankings memorized. Let's see. There we go. Baby Cannon founder. When did I do this? 2 years ago. So, and this was mid. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty outdated then. This is what, the BB Can 9? Who do I have here? Emmett, lower than Emmett, obviously. Oh, lower than Netta, lower than Tim. Lower than Dimitri's? Right? Ashley, let's say lower. Derek Kessler. I think that's interesting. I would say, like, on par with Derek Kessler. I'd probably say higher. Because I don't think she had to win out as much. Lesson Challenge 40. I forgot about Daniel. Actually, Daniel. Yeah, adding in Daniel. Like, Daniel's higher for sure. Daniel would probably be what, like above Tim, below Netta and Emmett, I think. But yeah, spoiler for Challenge 40. Surprised Derek got there. I think that's the main takeaway. Outside that, it's like whatever. It's like kind of who I expected. But again, good on Derek Chavez to just randomly make it to the final. I think this one. Dude, these are fucking terrible skills.
Is this persona? One moment, please.
Yeah, Mystery Man is still there. I haven't updated the drafts, have I? I love it. Like I'm 30 minutes in, I haven't done a single actual thing in the game at this point. Yeah, let's see. Take a look at the drafts real quick. Now chat wins Derek. I mean, Derek's not winning. Come on. It would be funny if Derek won 40, but it's not happening. Okay, so we got... So BB Can is done, so we can wrap up the BB Can one. So Bailey won, so that means Lion Melon won the draft. Anthony... Obviously was second, so your Viver comes in second. Lex was third, so I got third. And then Sora Quill got fourth. So yeah, I might as well update all these. Who had Venus in the Survivor? I think Sorqua had Venus, right? Yeah, so Sorqua's now down to just Maria. So Menace has Ben. I have Charlie and Liz. Sorquel has Maria. Julian has Kenzie. Yoviver has Q. So I'll add Lion Melon to the winner leaderboard. Alright, then Spoil Challenge 40. Who did we lose since last stream? Wait, okay, so Aviv is gone, who was with the chat, and then Corey is gone, which means I Am Beans is out. So there we go. Alright, that's the update on the drafts. Well, Julian still has Kylan, Bananas, and Michelle. That's kind of insane. Fuck Dondi if Rob doesn't win. I think Jordan's winning Dondi at this point.
Are you finished?
Like I think at this point it's like, yeah, I think Boss Rob's probably just out. Again, I think the fact that they had this cliffhanger on like, oh, is it Boss Rob or is it Amy? It's like, well, like probably means it's Boss Rob then, right?
Have a pleasant day.
But yeah, I think more than likely, I think it's Jordan winning, which will be funny. But who else is like again, like it's either Boston Rob or Jordan. It's not Amy or Stephanie. But again, like you have to remember, this isn't Survivor. This isn't a show that has like a historied like documentation on how they edit their show, along with the fact that like we don't know if the Dondi production crew cares about like who wins, or like I think it's the thing about Survivor that makes Survivor unique is that it's very clear that Survivor US cares about who wins and how they portray them, where like with Dondi it's like we don't know if they care. So like obviously I don't think they're gonna make their winner like as hateable as someone like Stephanie, but like I don't think they care about like, oh, this person has to be on the show constantly. Because I think they were upset that Erica won. And by me saying they care about who is winning, I don't mean that as in like they're going to necessarily like overexert themselves in editing them a certain way. I mean they actually care in the sense that they'll be upset at like certain people winning and that sort of thing. So like I think Jeff Probst legitimately like cares about the result of the season.